A very good evening. You're watching Primetime News here on Newsfirst, where the people come first. For the Newsfirst team, I'm Naveksha Gunasekara, and here are your headlines for tonight.
Newsfirst headlines. Main sponsor.
A trusted place for your fixed deposit. Valuable FD, a symbol of stability.
IMF team reaches staff-level agreement with Sri Lanka. The government has an important responsibility to protect the poor and vulnerable, says the IMF. Local government election in early 2025, Minister Vijitha confirms in Kandy. Red alerts issued by Met Department for multiple provinces. Eastern and Uva provinces experience over 150 millimeters of rainfall. New electricity tariff revision proposal further delayed. Electricity tariff revision unlikely this year, Public Utilities Commission says.
Newsfirst headlines. Main sponsor.
A trusted place for your fixed deposit. Valuable FD, a symbol of stability.
In your top story tonight, an International Monetary Fund team has reached a staff-level agreement with Sri Lanka on economic policies and reforms required to support the country's program under the Extended Fund Facility. The agreement comes after productive discussions between the IMF and Sri Lankan authorities, and it is subject to the approval by the IMF's Executive Board.
We have reached staff-level agreement with the Sri Lankan authorities on the third review under the 4-year Extended Fund Facility supported program. The agreement at the staff level is subject to the approval of IMF management and the IMF Executive Board. Completion of the review by the IMF Executive Board requires the implementation by the authorities of prior actions, including the submission of a 2025 budget consistent with program objectives. And it also requires confirming that the program remains adequately financed. Upon completion of the Executive Board review, Sri Lanka would have access to about $330 million. This would bring IMF financial support dispersed under the arrangement to a total of about $1.3 billion.
He emphasized that sustaining the momentum of the reforms is crucial for safeguarding the progress made so far.
Sri Lanka's ambitious reform agenda, supported by the EFF, is delivering commendable outcomes. Progress with respect to the reform agenda under the EFF, I would like to point out that program performance has been strong. The new government's commitment to the program objectives has enhanced confidence and ensures policy continuity. Sustaining the reform momentum is critical to safeguarding the hard-won gains of the program. It is also critical to put the economy on a path towards lasting recovery and stable and inclusive growth. Since the crisis has affected Sri Lanka's entire population, it will be important to ensure that the benefits from the economic growth are shared appropriately across the population. Now, let me emphasize here that the government has an important responsibility to protect the poor and vulnerable at this difficult time. It is important to redouble efforts to meet the program's minimum spending target on social spending and to improve targeting, adequacy, and coverage of social safety nets, particularly Aswisumra.
The senior IMF mission chief for Sri Lanka also commented on Sri Lanka's debt restructuring process.
Sri Lanka's recent agreement in principle with bondholders is an important milestone. It puts Sri Lanka's debt on a path towards sustainability. The critical next steps are to complete the commercial debt restructuring, finalize bilateral agreements with official creditors, along the lines of the accord with the Official Creditor Committee, and implement the terms of the other agreements. This will help restore Sri Lanka's debt sustainability.
The IMF has emphasized the need for structural reforms when it comes to public sector management, state-owned enterprises, and tax collection. So what tangible results have been achieved in these areas so far? And how do you assess the government's commitment to implementing these reforms in a timely manner?
The new Public Financial Management Act will instill principles of good governance and transparency into Sri Lanka's public finances. Cost recovery energy pricing is an important pillar of the IMF-supported program to reduce the fiscal risks from state-owned enterprises, to make sure that they're no longer a burden on the public finances and taxpayer. Legacy debts of the SOEs are also being repaid and resolved, further reducing those risks. There's been significant effort to improve tax collection and improve governance in the various tax collecting agencies. So overall, we see a clear commitment from the government to the structural reform agenda and improving governance and accountability in the public financial management.
The senior IMF mission chief for Sri Lanka also commented on efforts to lift vehicle import restrictions.
The previous government said that vehicle import restrictions will be lifted by February 2025. So if the current government goes ahead with that decision, will this comply with the IMF recommendations?
That is a decision by the government that has implications with respect to monetary policy. So yes, that is a part that we have discussed. In fact, we have already discussed in the previous review. Lifting these restrictions will be a very important source of revenue for the government in the year ahead. It's one of the more and more rare opportunities to raise revenue in Sri Lanka. So it'll be an important part of that. Of course, it needs to be managed carefully with respect to the reserves of the country.
Member of Parliament of the Ilange Tamil Arasukatchi, Shanakian Rasamanikam, expressed his views regarding the receiving of the third review from the International Monetary Fund.
We were informed that the IMF staff have arrived for the third review agreement today. We are expected to receive $330 million. What did Ranil Wickremesinghe's supporters say the other day? They said that if Ranil Wickremesinghe does not come back to power, the IMF agreement will be abolished and the country would be bankrupt once again. Today we have received this funding through the proper implementation of measures taken by the President. So we are supporting these correct measures implemented by the President.
Minister Vijitha Herath confirmed that the local government elections will be held in early 2025.
ලබන අවුරුද්දේ මුල පළාත් පාලන මැතිවරණය ඒ කියන්නේ ප්‍රාදේශ සභා නගර සභා මැතිවරණය පවත්වන්න අපි සූදානම් වෙලා ඉන්නවා. ඒ අවුරුදු දෙකකට වැඩි කාලයක් මේක පස්සට තල්ලු වෙලා තියෙන්නේ. ඒ නිසා පාර්ලිමේන්තුව තුල අනිකුත් පක්ෂත් එක්ක සාකච්ඡා කරලා මේ පළාත් පාලන මැතිවරණ පනත සංශෝධනය කරගෙන අලුතෙන් නාම යෝජනා කැඳවලා පළාත් ප්‍රාදේශ සභා මැතිවරණය පවත්වන්න තියෙනවා නම් හොඳයි කියන අදහස අපි ඉන්නවා. ඒ සඳහා අනිත් අයගෙත් අදහස් විමසීමක් කරලා පාර්ලිමේන්තුවේ මේ පනත් සංශෝධනය කිරීමෙන් අනතුරුව මැතිවරණයකට යන්න පුළුවන්ද කියන තත්ත්වය අපි විමසා බලමින් තියෙනවා.
ඒක ලබන වසර මුල භාගයේ පැවැත්වෙයිද කරු ඇමතුමනි?
දිනවක වානු තවම අපි අවසන් කරලා නැහැ. කොහොමත් ලබන වසරේ මුල පළාත් පාලන මැතිවරණය පවත්වන්න අපි දැනට සැලසුම් කරලා තියෙනවා.
The Met Department says that heavy showers, about 150 millimeters, are likely at some places in northern, north central, eastern and Uva provinces. Showers or thunder showers will occur at several places elsewhere of the island during the evening or night. The Met Department requests the general public to take adequate precautions to minimize damages caused by temporary localized strong winds and lightning during thunder showers.
Within the 24-hour window that ended at 8:30 a.m. today, Mannar received 212.5 millimeters of rainfall, the highest recorded during this period. According to the Department of Meteorology, rainfall exceeding 100 millimeters was also reported in Alampili in Mulathu and in Palampedi in Mannar and Kasbaba during this time frame. As a result of the heavy rainfall, several low-lying areas including Mannar, South Ba, Shantipuram and Amil Nagar in the Mannar district have been inundated, with numerous houses affected by flooding. 2 relief centres have been set up in Elluttur, Mana, for those displaced, with 25 families currently sheltered there. Meanwhile, the Nilvala River has reached minor flood levels near Thalgahagoda. The Department of Irrigation says that the water levels of the Nilvala River are also rising near the Panadugama area. Due to water flowing into low-lying areas, the Akurasa-Kadduwa road has been submerged in Uninduvela and the Malimbada-Tihagoda road has been inundated at the Vallatutta area. Two sluice gates of the Angamo reservoir have been opened due to the rise of its water levels as a result of heavy rains. Accordingly, the 2 sluice gates of the reservoir have been opened by 1 foot each, releasing a water volume of 670 cubic feet per second to the Lunu Oya. Meanwhile, 3 sluice gates of the Muruthavela reservoir were also opened early this morning due to heavy rains experienced by the Hambantota region. A volume of 345 cubic feet per second is being released into the Uruboku Oya through these sluice gates. Meanwhile, the Valimada Maspanna Kandy Road, which has been blocked in the Kotegoda area due to fallen earth mounds, is now being cleared. Police request motorists to exercise caution, as although 1 lane of the road has been cleared, the risk of more mounds of earth falling still exists. The Met Department says that showers or thunder showers will occur at several places in the sea areas around the island. Wind speed will be 20 to 30 kilometers per hour in the sea areas around the island. Wind speed can increase up to 45 to 50 kilometers per hour at times, and the sea condition will be fairly rough at times in the sea areas extending from Colombo to Mullatiu via Putlam and Kankasanture. Citing this condition, the Met Department requests the fishing community to refrain from going out to sea in the northeastern seas of the island until next Tuesday. Meanwhile, landslide warnings were issued covering multiple regions belonging to 4 districts due to the prevailing heavy rains. The warning covers the Baddegama, Alpitia and Naguda Divisional Secretariat divisions of the Gaul district, Bulatkohpitia, K-Gaul and Yatiantota Divisional Secretariat divisions of the K-Gaul district, Ambagamo Divisional Secretariat division of the Nuwara Eliya district, Imbulpe, Opanayaka, Balangoda, Ratnapura, Palmadulla and Kahavatta divisional secretariats of the Ratnapura district.
The JCE Advanced Level Examination will commence tomorrow at 2,312 examination centres across the island. 333,185 candidates will be facing the examination this year.
මේ විභාගයේ ආරක්ෂාව සඳහා අපි පොලිස් දෙපාර්තමේන්තුව ත්‍රිවිධ හමුදාව ආපදා
To ensure safety right throughout the year's examination, we have held prior discussions with the Sri Lanka Police, Tri-Forces and the Disaster Management Centre as well. All arrangements are in place to conduct the examination. If any candidate has not yet received their admission, do not panic as your details will be on our database. They still have the opportunity to download their admissions. Check if all the information in your admission is correct. In the back of the admission, there is a place to verify your signature. It is mandatory that you fill this part out before entering the examination centre. We only consider the national identity card, passport or driver's license as valid identification document. Chief invigilators are instructed to see the candidates 30 minutes before the examination. The candidates should go to the examination centre before that. Taking any mobile phones or communication devices of any sort into the examination hall is completely prohibited. If found with any electronic device, the candidate will be handed a 5-year examination ban.
Meanwhile, the National Dengue Control Unit has instructed the implementation of mosquito control programs near the examination centres. Community medical specialist Dr. Lahidu Kodituaku informs the examination candidates that it is recommended to apply a mosquito repellent when arriving at the examination centres.
Newsfirst, main sponsor.
Generators for long-term rent. Multiways Engineering Private Limited.
A trusted place for your fixed deposit. Valuable FD, a symbol of stability.
After 3 days of extensive effort, it was revealed today that the large rock discovered during excavations contains no valuable embedded on it. Excavation activities, which began the day before yesterday near the Central Expressway in Vandurava Veyangoda, continued for the third day today.
What is the origin of this story?
In the past, many groups of people had been carrying out excavations at this location with the aim of uncovering valuables. In September, 9 individuals were arrested during a raid carried out in the area. The Department of Archaeology had previously clarified through a preliminary investigation that there was no indication of any treasure at the excavation site. Later, following an investigation by the Police Special Task Force, an object suspected to be a solid was discovered at the excavation site. Following the findings, the Attanagala Magistrates Court issued an order on the 11th of November to commence excavations at the site. Following the order, excavation activities began last Thursday. The excavations are being conducted under the supervision of officials from the Geological Survey and Mines Bureau, the Department of Archaeology, Veyangoda Police Station, the Road Development Authority, as well as the Medigama Divisional Secretariat. By yesterday afternoon, a large rock believed to contain valuables embedded in it was discovered. However, it could not be removed.
What happened today? Was the treasure found?
Today, the large rock was fragmented into smaller parts and pieces of rock were taken out part by part from the excavation site. Meanwhile, a scan was also conducted at the excavation site this evening by the members of the Police Special Task Force. The scan indicated no special finding, and later on, the rock fragments taken out were examined. The government analyst has also been assisting with the excavation procedure. In the end, it was confirmed that the rock had no valuables embedded in it.
What does the Department of Archaeology have to say in this regard?
I must tell you with responsibility that there are many myths about there being treasures hidden in different places. The Department of Archaeology has carried out excavations all around the island. However, we have not found any sort of treasure so far. I must make a request to the general public. Various historic valuables may be buried underground. Do not destroy them through your excavations.
A group staged a protest opposite the Foreign Employment Bureau today, alleging that they are unable to go to work in South Korea with visas under the E8 category. Meanwhile, the Foreign Employment Bureau says that this issue has arisen due to an incorrect procedure followed by a former minister who served under the previous government.
The group assembled opposite the Foreign Employment Bureau at about 11 a.m. today and began their protest. A heated situation arose as the group attempted to set up a tent to begin a Satyagraha campaign. The group continued to engage in the protest despite obstructions from the police. Thereafter, police took steps to remove the tent from the location. A young woman who had fallen during this heated situation was taken to the hospital for treatment.
ඒ වීසා ලැබිලත් ලංකාව කියන අරුම පුදුම රටේ අද අපිට ලංකාවෙන් කොරියාවට යන්න දෙන්නේ නැතුව මාස 3ක් තිස්සේ ශ්‍රී ලංකා විදේශ සේවා නියුක්තිකාරයන්ශය කියන හොර ගුහාව මෙන්න මේ හොර ගුහාව අපිව නවත්තගෙන ඉන්නවා අපිට රැකියාවට යන්න දෙන්නේ නැහැ. දැන් මේ සම්බන්ධව මේ මාස 3 පුරාම අපි නොයෙකුත් අරගල ක්‍රියාමාර්ගවල නිරත වුණා. මේක ඇත්තටම ආරම්භ කරේ පසුගිය ආණ්ඩුව 26 වෙනිදා වීසා කැන්සල් වෙනවා. ඊට කලින් අපට මේ යන්න ලබා දෙන්න ජනාධිපතිතුමනි මේක අද දවසේ අනිවාර්යයෙන්ම බලන්න අපේ දුක අපි මේ ගෑ ගාලා කියන්නේ.
E8 වීසා එක නීතියානුකූල නැත්තම් මේගොල්ලෝ ඒ ගැන හොයලා බලලා ක්ලියර් කරලා අපි යවන්න ඕනේ. එහෙමත් නැහැ. අපි මේ සටන නවත්තන්නෙත් නැහැ. අසාධාරණ කරලා තියෙන අපේ බියුරෝ එකෙන් අපිට නීතියානුකූල වීසා එකක් ලැබිලා තියෙනවා. බියුරෝ කොරියාවෙන් අපිව ගෙන්න ගන්න කැමති වුණාට බියුරෝ එකෙන් අපිව යවන්නේ නැහැ.
What is this Korean visa problem? What is this E8 visa?
The government of Korea issues two main types of visa for foreign employees. These are called E8 and E9 visas. According to the E9 visa system, the individual should pass the Korean language exam and may work in South Korea for 5 years. However, this problem concerns E8 visas. This visa grants permission for foreign employees of fisheries and agricultural sectors to work in South Korea for a time period as short as 6 to 8 months.
How exactly did this problem arise? What is the Sri Lanka Bureau of Foreign Employment have to say in this regard?
Additional General Manager of the Sri Lanka Bureau of Foreign Employment, Gamini Senaratyapa, said that a former government minister had signed the relevant agreement bypassing proper procedures. He added that therefore, these Sri Lankans cannot be registered for the issuance of E8 visas. The Additional General Manager went on to note that the Criminal Investigation Department has paid attention to this matter and that the matter will be informed to the Attorney General's Department on Monday.
A decision has been made to suspend the water and electricity supply to parliamentary official residences that have not yet been handed over without prior notice. The Parliamentary Secretariat says that written notifications have been issued to the respective members of Parliament.
The Parliamentary Secretariat says that as of yesterday evening, more than 70 former members of Parliament had handed over their official residences. About 20 former members of Parliament have yet to return their official residences. Among those still occupying the residences are 26 members of Parliament who were re-elected this year. Additionally, the Parliamentary Secretariat reveals that more than 35 new MPs have submitted applications for new official residences.
SJB MP Mujibur Rahman says that the issue concerning the appointment of the SJB National List MPs will be resolved by Monday.
අපි සන්ධානයක් හැටියට නියෝජනය කරන පක්ෂ ගණනාවක් මේක ඇතුලේ ඉන්නවා. ඒ යම් පක්ෂවල මත තිබෙනවා මේ ලැබිච්ච ජාතික ලැයිස්තුවෙන් උන්ටත් යම් ප්‍රමාණයක් ලැබිය යුතුයි කියන එක. ඉතින් මේ අපි දන්නවා අපිට ලැබුණේ තාම 5 දෙනෙක් වගේ පත් කරගන්න පුළුවන් තාම සුළු ප්‍රමාණයක්. ඒක පිළිබඳව යම් සාකච්ඡාවක් පක්ෂ අතර යනවා. මම හිතන්නේ සඳුදා වෙනකොට මේ ප්‍රශ්නේ විසඳෙයි. තව දවස් දෙක තුනකින් විසඳෙයි.
Leader of the All Ceylon Makkal Congress Party, Rishad Badiuddin, who contested under the Samagi Janasandhane for this year's parliamentary election, says that he should be given a national list parliamentary seat.
The All Ceylon Makkal Congress Party, the Sri Lanka Muslim Congress and the Tamil Progressive Alliance were promised one national list parliamentary seat each. The three parties worked very hard for the party's progress. Sajid Premadasa has promised us each a national list parliamentary seat. So we expect him to keep his promise in the coming days. Meanwhile, Deputy Minister of Vocational Education Nalin Hevage said that the public has made it clear that there is no longer a need for an opposition, suggesting that the role of the opposition is unwanted in today's political landscape.
විශේෂයෙන්ම අපේ රනිල් වික්‍රමසිංහ මහත්මයා පහුගිය කාලේ විවිධ චෝදනා කළා. දැන් මේ ඉන්න മന്ത്രി එක්කෙනා දෙන්නා තෝරගන්න බැරුව දැන් රනිල්ගේ කලිසමත් ගලවගෙන තමයි රවි පාර්ලිමේන්තුවට ගිහින් තියෙන්නේ. විශාල අලකංචයක් සිද්ධ වෙලා තියෙනවා. නිසා දැන් මං හිතන්නේ ලංකාවේ විපක්ෂයක් නැහැ.
Let's take a look at few of the MPs appointed to the 10th Parliament of Sri Lanka.
Tenth Parliament of Sri Lanka.
Attorney at Law Sunil Vatagala. Party National People's Power. District Colombo, both secured 125,700. After completing his school education at the CWW Kannangara Central College in Matugama, Sunil Vatagala then proceeded to join the Faculty of Law of the University of Colombo. Having served as a lawyer for many years, he has also been involved in many controversial cases. He also has experience as an urban councillor of the Colombo Municipal Council. Attorney at Law Sunil Vatagala recently took oaths as the Deputy Minister of Public Security and Parliamentary Affairs.
මේ ජනවරම කියන්නේ පැහැදිලි දේශපාලන ස්ථාවරයක් තියෙන ජනවරමක්. දැන්
This mandate is one with a clear political position. The people have fulfilled their responsibility. We are now ready. We strongly believe that by replacing the corrupt parliament with a good one and by establishing a system of governance that ensures a constant balance between the executive, legislature and judiciary, we will be able to fulfill the hopes and expectations of the people.
Chatri Gangani, Party National People's Power, District, Monaragala, both secured 42,930. Chatri Gangani, who received her primary education at the Vallabhaya Gampaha Vidyalaya, completed her A-levels at the Vallabhaya Mallattavala National School. After earning a degree in business statistics from the University of Sri Jayawardhanapura, she entered the public service in 2012, joining the Department of Provincial Land Commissioners. I have served as a teacher for over 12 years. There are moments where we empathize on the children's hardships. It was especially during my time as a teacher that I realized that I have a social responsibility beyond my profession. That is why I decided to enter politics to fulfill that responsibility. Colombo Tantrige Nishantha Pereira, Party National People's Power, District, Gaul. Both secured 71,549. Nishantha Pereira, born in Kimbiala, Baddegama, received his primary education from the Gaul Kahatua National School and completed his secondary education at the Gaul Karandenia Central College. During his school years, he was actively involved in student politics and social activism. He later served as a public representative at the Alpitiya Pradeshiya Sabha and the Southern Provincial Council. In the recent Alpitiya Pradeshiya Sabha election, he was elected as the chairman of the Alpitiya Pradeshiya Sabha following the victory of the National People's Power. He also serves as the chairman of the National Federation of Tea Smallholders.
The Gaul and Mathura districts are both considered as the heart of tea estates. Tea is the main export crop of the country. That's why we are working hard to increase the tea export earnings. By improving the quality of every aspect of tea production, we aim to make Sri Lanka one of the leading tea exporting nations in the world.
10th Parliament of Sri Lanka.
In more local news, a jeep overturned into the Bujgamur Oya on the Kuliyapitiya Hettipola road, resulting in the death of 2 young men. The police say that the accident occurred due to uncontrollable speed of the vehicle.
This morning, the luxury vehicle in which the 2 men were travelling met with an accident near the Kamurapula bridge on the Kuliyapitiya Hettipola road. They were on their way to their home in Kobegane after attending a party in Bennapur. The victims, 27-year-old Nirmal Dhananjaya and his younger brother, 25-year-old Ishan Abhiratna, were residents of Kurunagala. The vehicle, which had toppled into the river, was eventually taken out of the water after an operation of about 6 hours with the aid of a crane. However, by the time the jeep was taken out of the water, the 2 men had already lost their lives. Police said that the accident occurred on a winding road and that the jeep overturned and plunged into the Bujgamur Oya due to the inability to control its speed.
Today marks the start of a lengthy school holiday. As you make plans to enjoy your holidays with long-distance trips you may have planned, we would like to remind you a few important things. An unfortunate observation from previous holiday seasons is the loss of many valuable lives due to reckless actions. And so, whether you are visiting unfamiliar places, swimming in the sea, driving at high speeds on roads or hiking up mountains, always exercise caution. Make sure to gather information from the locals living in the areas before swimming in unfamiliar places or deep waters. Swimming under the influence of alcohol is a serious risk to a life. Be especially careful when handling children. Always follow the instructions given by authorities, including the police and life-saving organizations, when visiting places during your trips. We share these reminders with you to safeguard your precious life and prevent it from becoming another victim of an unavoidable accident.
Newsfirst with the people.
A trusted place for your fixed deposit. Valuable FD, a symbol of stability.
KIU University celebrated the launch of its LLB Honours Law degree program with an inauguration ceremony in Colombo yesterday.
The KIU University proudly hosted the inauguration ceremony of its LLB Honours Law degree program in Colombo yesterday. The inauguration ceremony was graced by President's Counsel Dr. Ramesh De Silva as the chief guest and the presence of other esteemed dignitaries.
As you are aware, our constitution is unique. The difference between our constitution and other constitutions is that our constitution recognizes that the sovereignty is in the people and is inalienable. There is no other country in which that concept is known. So today, when we are talking of Sri Lanka, we have to recognize and realize that it is the people of this country who are sovereign, and all power emanates from the people. And you who are embarking on this LLB journey and to be lawyers have a big part to play in the exercising the judicial power of the people.
All eyes are on the counting of votes and results of the high-stakes Maharashtra and Jharkhand assembly elections, which began at 8 a.m. today. In both the states, the BJP-led NDA and the opposition India bloc parties have locked horns in a fierce battle.
An 88-seat Maharashtra assembly election or Ajit Pawar faction and the opposition Mahavikas Aghadi MVA Congress, Shiv Sena UBT and the NCP. Most of the exit polls have predicted a win for the Mahayuti alliance, which is aiming to retain power by a huge margin against the MVA. This is the first assembly election since the Shiv Sena and NCP split into rival factions led by Eknath Shinde and Ajit Pawar. In the 81-seat Jharkhand assembly election, the ruling JMM-led India bloc is seeking to retain the state, while the BJP-led NDA alliance claims to wrest it from the ruling alliance. While some of the exit polls have predicted an edge to the NDA alliance in Jharkhand, some have also predicted a hung assembly. Apart from these, results from the by-polls in 15 assembly seats spread across Uttar Pradesh, Punjab, Kerala and Uttarakhand will also be declared today.
Russia has a stock of powerful new missiles ready to be used, said President Vladimir Putin, a day after his country fired a new ballistic missile at the Ukrainian city of Dnipro.
A few days ago, we reported that Ukraine used the Army Tactical Missile System and Storm Shadow missiles funded by the United States of America and the United Kingdom on Russian targets. Yesterday, in an unscheduled TV address, the Russian leader said the Oreshnik missile could not be intercepted and promised to carry out more tests, including in quote-unquote combat conditions. Russia's use of the Oreshnik capped a week of escalation in the war that also saw Ukraine fire US and British missiles into Russia for the first time. Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky called for world leaders to give a serious response so that Putin, quote-unquote, feels the real consequences of his actions. He added that his country was asking Western partners for updated air defense systems. In Friday's address, Putin said the Oreshnik hypersonic missiles flew at 10 times the speed of sound and ordered them to be put into production. He had earlier said that the use of the missile was a response to Ukraine's use of Storm Shadow and ATS-CMS missiles.
Вчера проинформировал личный состав вооруженных сил граждан России, наших союзников во всем мире, а также тех, кто пытается шантажировать нас силой о российской новейшей ракетной системе средней дальности. Это наш, ваш комплекс, который вы же и назвали «Орешник». И, как уже было сказано, мы будем эти испытания продолжать, в том числе и в боевых условиях, в зависимости от ситуации и характера угроз безопасности, которые создаются для России. Тем более, что запас таких изделий, запас таких систем, готовых к их применению, у нас имеет.
Thursday's strike on Dnipro was described as unusual by eyewitnesses and triggered explosions which went on for 3 hours. The attack included a strike by a missile so powerful that in the aftermath, Ukrainian officials said it had resembled an intercontinental ballistic missile or ICBM. This week's escalation has also prompted several warnings from other world leaders about the direction of the war between Russia and Ukraine. Polish Prime Minister Donald Tusk has said the war was entering a decisive stage with a real risk of global conflict. Hungarian Prime Minister Viktor Orban meanwhile said the West should take Vladimir Putin's warnings at face value because Russia, quote-unquote, bases its policies primarily on military power. And North Korea's leader Kim Jong-un warned never before had the threat of a nuclear war been greater and accused the United States of having an aggressive and hostile policy towards Pyongyang.
And that's a wrap of Primetime News for tonight. For all these stories and much more, you can visit our website www.newsfirst.lk. Thank you for watching. Good night.